Was that a flagrant foul?
Abso-freaking-lutely is a freaking flagrant foul.
I'm not debating that PULISIC isn't better than a Landon Donovan. What is lacking is when we get all these talented players together, there is a disconnect on the field.
This is going to be like a hater thing, but Nick Dunlap, he
Yeah.
is always between 7 and 10 shots over par. How is this guy on the PGA, bro? He's just like one of us, just getting out there. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the From the Stands podcast. We are here on this June 12th on a Thursday, finally back recording on Thursdays, once again for episode number 67, I believe. But yeah, we are back with another episode, hopefully a little bit of a shorter episode for you guys, just because we did record one on Monday. So we'll get into a little NBA Finals talk. Another game going down last night. Unfortunately for my Thunder, they did fall short in game 3, but we'll get into that a little bit. Also talk a little bit about a couple teams circling the wagons for the KD sweepstakes this summer. We'll see where he ends up after his imminent exit from the Suns. We'll also get into a little World Soccer, a little Gold Cup preview coming up with the U.S. men's national team involved. And then we'll also get into a little Club World Cup preview, the first edition of the pretty large tournament that we have there, both hosted on U.S. soil. So very exciting stuff. And then to round out the podcast, we'll get into a little U.S. Open talk, a little golf, trying to get a little bit more golf on the podcast for you guys. It's kind of a newer hobby for both Fez and I. But before we get into all that, Fezzy boy, what's been going on in our neck of the woods here?
Not a whole lot. You and I play basketball usually try to play every Tuesday and Thursday morning with a group of us. Had some new guys out. Our friend Kyle, he actually moved here about, it might be 2 years now. Like, time's been flying.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but we played with him before in some rec leagues, but he showed up, so that was a good time. Dude, I could barely walk after the end of that. Like, I think you had left. Yeah, you left before Kyle and I were walking out, but I was like walking out. I was like, dude, I think I have like really bad shin splints. And I was like, can you get them in the side? I've never had shin splints before. And I was like, can you get them in the side of your leg? And he's like, yeah, you can get them all over. I was like, well, I definitely have shin splints. And I just like near the end of the run that we did, I was just like, dude, I can't move. They were trying to play another one. I was like, I can't. I'm sorry, guys. Yeah. I cannot move.
Yeah, they were giving you a little stick there because you showed up a little bit late, and you're also the first one to be like, yeah, I don't want to play anymore. I can't move. See you guys.
My alarm didn't go off this morning. My wife woke me up. She told me, this is wild, dude. This is wild. Did not hear my alarm at all. I set 2 of them, one for 5 o'clock and one for 5:15. She woke me up at 6 o'clock, and apparently I rolled over and turned both of them off in my sleep because she said that they did go off, and that's why she woke me up because she was awake because my alarms went off. I was like, I don't remember that at all. So
you booked it over there if you woke up at 6. And
I woke up at 6 there, like, and she's like,
15 or so.
Do you need to go? And I was like, yeah. I was like texting Kyle because this was Kyle's first time. I was gonna show him in. He said he followed you in, which I was like,
he ran into me on the way in.
Yeah, I was like so thankful that he did. But I was just like, I apologized like 3 times. I was like, dude, I'm so freaking sorry. But anyways,
but no, going back to the shin splints, those things are no joke. Like, I had a buddy who I work in youth group with, and he was actually on the Bob Jones track and field team. And he got them earlier this year, like halfway through the semester or whatever. And he couldn't really like even play basketball with like the a lot of the kids and stuff because they were so bad. Like, he was kind of supposed to like stay, like he still would kind of like, get out there, shoot around, like if it's just a chill game kind of thing. Like he'll stomach that, but he wasn't supposed to run. But like the recovery period is very like sensitive. Like, I don't think he had anything necessarily done, but you just gotta stay off. Like, don't do anything like crazy. For a little while, for a couple months. I think he's quite a bit better now, but it took him a couple months to kind of get over that. But not fun from what I've heard. So
yeah, no, they're not fun at all. But yeah, that's a little bit of were you gonna say something?
I was just gonna mention, I kind of put it in the doc, but my parents have been here the last month, so
That's
that's kind
dope.
of something else that's new with me. I know Fezzy Boy's parents and his in-laws are in town all the time, but I don't really get to see my parents too often. So um, they've been in town for most of the month of June, so it's kind of been cool um, just to kind of hang out with them. We went mini golfing tonight. I feel like golf is more and
Nice.
more a part of my life now, so that's kind of funny, but yeah, just getting dinner with them, having them over and stuff has been cool. So that's kind of something different, I guess. That try to bring a little bit of a different perspective every week. Our lives aren't that interesting to have something different every week. So when there is
Right.
something different, you got to shout it out. So yeah,
Yeah, for sure. And for those who don't know, the reason Peter doesn't, Peter, holy cow. I'm sorry, I'm tired, guys. I was up early, and Sam feels the same way. Up early, worked all day, so we're gonna try to bring the energy. But Sam's parents are missionaries in Romania, so that's why he doesn't get to see them often. So they're doing a good
yeah.
thing, and it's really cool that Sam gets to see his parents for how long? How long are they here?
Well, they're here for like 4 or 5 months, but they'll be in the
Nice,
Greenville area, kind of as their home base, quote unquote, for like a month. They went over to
nice.
Atlanta. Then this weekend they'll be in Tampa, Florida. Went to
Okay,
Charleston,
nice.
but they're staying at a family's house that we know pretty well up here, and seeing them once or twice a week for the whole month of June. So it's been
Okay,
good.
nice, nice. Yeah, that's really cool that you
But
get
yeah,
to
I get
see
to see
them.
them like once every year or two. So
Yeah.
gotta make it count.
Dude, I couldn't imagine. But that's awesome that they're here. But without further ado, we're going to get into the episode. Got a jam packed one for you guys. So let's get into it.
Starting off this basketball segment with a little finals talk. We did have another NBA Finals game this past Wednesday, I guess yesterday. Last night, and not a great game for my Thunder. Unfortunately, falling short, 116-107 in Game 3 of the NBA Finals. Huge letdown, honestly, as far as I'm concerned, just because I really thought that this was kind of the game that they were going to impose their will on the series, really just take a hold of it with two hands and just kind of wrestle it away and show the Pacers who's boss. But unfortunately, kind of went the opposite direction here, at least unfortunately, as far as Thunder fans are concerned. But the Pacers, I feel like this is kind of when they were saying like, "Hey, this is going to be a series."
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I was on the pod after on Monday or whenever we were talking about this, saying that even after the first game, I kind of still felt really, really confident Thunder in 5 or 6. But I still am confident that it's possible that we just rattle off the next 3 in a row and are able to put them away. But more likely than not, I think the Pacers are going to really push us here. If not, maybe win the whole thing. But getting into the game just a little bit, my Thunder did struggle quite a bit with their production off the bench, which has been so solid all not only all season but all playoffs as well. It's kind of one of the main reasons that we've been able to get as far as we have. And the Pacers also given us a little bit of our own medicine, forcing 17 turnovers. I feel like
Yeah.
most games for the Thunder, it's usually under 10. So the fact that they were able to force so many turnovers was huge as far as just getting points off those turnovers and everything. And like I said, giving us a little bit of our own medicine on that one, just because we're so good at forcing those turnovers and getting in transition. But those are kind of some of the main talking points going into this game. I know you said that you watched most of it anyway. What were your kind of first thoughts about the Pacers winning Game 3 here?
Yeah, I mean, a more aggressive Halliburton definitely went a long way for them for sure. And obviously, I have like some notes written down, like you kind of alluded to it. OKC's bench was kind of non-existent. Their stars played really well. They
Yeah.
all had 20 plus points, so they were getting good production from them. But they always say, like, uh, the home team always gets more production out of their bench players because bench players play better at home and they play
Mm-hmm.
worse away. So, that kind of evened out everything going in the game because I mean the Pacers had like huge minutes from Matherin and McCollum and Toppin. Like they all played super well this game, so that really helped propel them over the top. And then they had a big fourth quarter. There's just like I don't know, I can kind of feel it through the TV, and it's just kind of the narrative around the Pacers right now. Like if it's close in the fourth quarter, you don't want it to be close in the fourth quarter against the Pacers because they just for some strange reason this postseason run, they just find a way to close in the fourth, and they kind of did that. It was a little hairy there at the end. Some stupid fouls by the Pacers, kind of giving you guys life, but they got kind of like that.
They couldn't
7,
make
8
their
point.
free throws to actually get back in the game. Freaking J-Dub, he better be shooting 1,000 of them before he went home that night. But
quickly, we don't have this in the doc, but I actually thought about asking you this when I saw it. Was that a flagrant foul?
That's the next thing I was going to say.
Okay, so let's get into that. It was like, in my personal opinion,
absolutely, it was a freaking flagrant foul. Go ahead.
All right. Yeah, dude, watching it in real time, I was like, dude, it's either a take foul or a flagrant foul. It has to be.
Bro.
But by letter of the law, like in the letter of the law, there's a windup. And he was just like, he literally went like I don't know what you need. Like, what's a windup? Like, does he have to do the whole like
that's what I'm saying, dude.
I don't know. Yeah, just kind of go into that. Like, I was surprised that it wasn't a flagrant, and I was like low key rooting for the Pacers. Like, I'm rooting for a good series, to be honest. Like, I'm not really rooting for either team. I'm just rooting for a good series. So when I saw that, I was like, dude, flagrant foul. That's gonna turn the fourth quarter. But then they came back and it was like, does not meet the criteria for a flagrant one. And I was like, then what does?
So dumb, dude. Like I texted Jared that in real time. I didn't get a text till the morning because apparently he wasn't watching the game. So I had to explain to him like what went down, but it obviously didn't do it justice. But yeah, like you said, like unbelievable. Like I don't understand how more of those like in transition, like trying to stop him from getting an easy bucket aren't at least called like take fouls. Because I don't really think that most of them are. And like by definition, I think that they would meet the criteria. But anyway, not only should it have been at least a take foul, but like absolutely it's a flagrant foul. Like they were saying it on the broadcast, like the windup is when he puts two hands above his head and tries to grab the guy as he's jumping, freaking two-hand tackling the guy. Basically he lets go before they hit the ground, but he's still just kind of like how I understand you don't have follow through, but you have wind up, you have obviously like significant contact, and like I know he doesn't throw him down, but like the way that he like lets go, it kind of looks like it, and he just kind of like looks at him too like afterwards. I'm like, how is this not a flagrant foul? Which it's not just that, but like the point in the game where it was at, I felt like we were trying to like get some momentum back. Obviously that was coming off a really nice Caruso steal off Halliburton, and like we would have obviously not just gotten the free throws, but then the ball as well. Like that could have been a huge point in the fourth quarter, where we were actually already down. Usually we're kind of up in that position. The Pacers are trying to get back, but we were already down at that point. Doris Burke and Mike Breen actually said that it wasn't, and then Richard Jefferson was the only one saying that it actually was. Of course, I don't really care what Doris Burke has to say. She's whatever. But
Richard Jefferson like that?
Yes, bro. She should go back to the sidelines. But that's a discussion for a different day.
Clip it.
But yeah, Richard Jefferson seemed to be like the only person with like a brain on there saying like, look at the windup, the way that he puts his two hands in there. I've never seen something like that on the basketball court. So that was extremely frustrating. And like, I understand why, fine, whatever. It doesn't meet all of the criteria for a flagrant foul, but at the very least, a take foul, is it not? Like, I was so frustrated by that. So that was very annoying. I don't know if you have anything else to add about that, but
no, I was trying to look up, like, I can't find anywhere, like, I'm looking up like the flagrant foul rules, and it's just giving me like what happens if you call flagrant foul. And I was just like, but like they talk a bunch about like head and neck area, like contact with the head and neck area, wind up, not making a play for the ball, excessive force, like that happened in all of them. Like he came down on the shoulders, head and neck area, wind up. He definitely threw his hands up and came down. Was it Caruso? I think it was Caruso going to the bucket. Excessive force, like that was not a basketball play. And then like not making a play on the ball. He was behind him, basically wrapped him up, didn't even make any contact with the ball. And I think the Pacers definitely got away with one for sure.
Yeah, so I have the criteria in front of me. It's wind up, it's legitimate basketball play / hard contact, and then it's also follow through, which like I felt like we had at least wind up and legitimate basketball play / hard contact. Whatever, I might give you the follow through, but I would also argue that it might be there as well, depending on how you look at it.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous to me, but
Yeah, it sounds like Adam Silver's slipping them a little something in their bank accounts to make this a series.
I
Because,
guess,
like, if this
man.
was being played straight up, and, like, for all I know, it could be, and I'm, like, a little more conspiracy driven than everybody else, but, I mean, it definitely benefits the league and Adam Silver if this goes more than 5,
Yeah.
so,
And
I don't know. We'll
it
see.
did feel a little bit that way, especially in the second half. Like, you know, they just felt like the Pacers were getting maybe the better end of some of those calls. But again, I don't think it was anything egregious except for that one
Right.
foul. But yeah,
Yeah.
either way, extremely frustrating, to be honest. But a couple other things I wanted to mention here is just, I know we talk about this from a Thunder perspective a lot because we are, or not we, but I am a very big Thunder fan. But you got to give it to the Pacers. I guess an unsung hero, even though he did win Eastern Conference MVP, is Pascal Siakam. I feel like he
Mm,
never really he doesn't have ups and downs. He's a very, very consistent player, which I feel like Tyrese really, really struggles with still. Like a lot of people are
yeah.
giving him kind of that superstar status. Some people aren't, but for me, if he really wants to get into that, kind of sacred room of superstars in the NBA, he's got to be a lot more consistent. Just because, one game
Yeah.
he's killing it, he's hitting daggers, and then the next game he's putting up like 12 points or whatever. Even the games that he has hit clutch shots, there's been a good handful of them where like he's hitting that clutch shot and it's getting them to like 13 points for the game and things like that. And
Right.
obviously stats aren't everything and they're a very well balanced team and everything, but a little bit more consistency from him I think would take him a long way. But that's something that Pascal Siakam has. He's
Mhm.
always scoring a lot. Like I said in the last couple games, he always like, if they're teetering a little bit, he always comes up with a massive three or just some crazy defensive play. So, got to hand it to him and a lot of those guys on both ends of the floor, really making it difficult for us.
For sure.
Benedict Mathurin, 27 points off
Huge.
the bench. That's a huge, huge contributor. That's something we could have used for sure. Um,
Yeah.
and speaking of guys off the bench, after Wiggins, the Aaron Wiggins game last game, big fat 0 egg here for Mr. Wiggins.
Talk about
Didn't
consistency.
Yeah, exactly. He didn't take too many shots. He only took 2 shots on 10 minutes, but
Mm,
kind of shows you the kind of game it was, I guess you could say. But
right.
the last thing I'll touch on too is just my frustration with SGA. Obviously he's a great player. He's MVP. He wasn't my MVP, even though he plays for my favorite team this year. But it's so frustrating that we've gotten to this point in the season and the finals playing a certain type of basketball where it's just we share the ball constantly. We have so many 3-and-D guys. We basically pass it until there's a guy wide open for 3 or right under the basket.
Hmm.
Hustle, everything. And then, in these clutch moments, I feel like when we're down 3, 4, 5 points with under 2-3 minutes to go, Shea just gets in this mode where he's just going to be like, nope, I'm going ISO. And like more often than not, the last 2-3 games when we really needed a bucket and we've lost the game because of it, it's because
Yeah.
he takes these possessions, 2-3 possessions in a row where he just everybody kind of stands in the corner and watch Shea to go to work. And like I understand that he's, one of the better players at just getting to his shot and getting a mid range or whatever. But like when you're consistently not hitting, like don't keep wasting possessions
Yeah.
and making the hole that we're in even worse. And I feel like that happened in game one. Well, it didn't happen in game one. It happened the end of last series against the Timberwolves, the one we lost. And then it almost cost us later in that series too, but we were able to recover. And then it's cost us obviously in this game 3 as well. Like there was a good stretch there where he kept hoisting up these shots off ISOs. I'm like, what are you doing, brother? Like pass the ball to J-Dub, get some movement. So that was just a very, very frustrating thing for me to watch as a Thunder fan here. So
Yeah, definitely. I could tell that was a little bit of hero ball trying to be played
Yeah.
when, maybe getting some other people, definitely trying to get your bench involved a little bit
Yeah.
more.
Like, you
I
already have
think
the MVP, bro. Like, just
right.
give it a rest.
Right. Yeah, we're trying to win an NBA championship. Like,
Yeah.
let's just figure it out. I feel like one thing that might be getting to him a little bit. I know he says he doesn't care, but it has to get to, like, he's trying. I've noticed that he's trying not to, like, get foul calls as much. I don't know. It
It's
just
because
like,
they stopped blowing everything for him.
right, they stopped giving him the calls, but, like, I feel like he's trying to, like, add some, like, legitimacy to, like, if he were to win Finals MVP, he doesn't want the talk to be all around, like, "Oh, free throw merchant, this, that, and the other," but it's like, I mean, if it ain't broke, just keep doing it, bro. Like, you've gotten to this point doing it. But I do like your point about not playing hero ball. Don't just, like, 3 or 4 possessions in a row, dribble the clock out. Kind of like a little bit of what you don't like about Brunson. Like, everyone's space, I'm just taking it. Get the clock down to 6 seconds, shot clock down to 6 seconds, and I'm taking a horrible shot because I'm trying to force it 2 or 3 times down the
Yeah.
floor.
And
So,
my problem isn't necessarily with him going ISO in some of these situations, but the fact that it's happening like 2, 3, 4 possessions in a row and just miss, miss, miss. I was like, all right, like, let's
yeah.
do something else. We're the best team in the league. Like, can we do something else that's not involving Shea going one on one? Good night.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah,
very,
yeah, definitely.
very, very frustrating for me as a Thunder fan. But yeah, I got to give it to the Pacers. Very impressive win for them. Obviously, it's their first one in Indiana. It's crazy to say this, but we have to win Game 4.
I was just
We
gonna
can't.
ask,
We
like,
cannot go
do you
down
think it's a must?
3-1.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask, like, going into this game, like, must win for sure for you guys, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, has to. I mean, we can't go down 3-1. That's too much with all the voodoo magic that the Pacers got going on over there in Indiana. They'd probably win one out of the 3 remaining games if we were to go down 3-1. So absolutely must win. I think we will win Game 4 just because, again, a little bit of a learning curve being the first game in Indiana and everything. But I'm hoping we come to play, get a little bit more bench production, and we'll we'll win that one. But that one won't be until Monday, so that's quite a bit of a. Or is it Friday? I'm sorry.
No, tomorrow and then
Okay,
Monday.
that's what I
Yeah.
thought. Okay, sorry.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, that'll kind of do it for the finals talk. The last thing we'll mention here, as far as basketball goes, is just some pretty big rumors coming out for one of the better players in the league, Kevin Durant. Definitely in the second half of his career, closer to the end and the beginning, but still a great player, I would say. Maybe top 10, 15 in the league, depending on how you want to slice things. But he's been very clear, and so have the Suns, that he will be on the move this summer. He's still under contract technically, so whoever gets him will need to trade some pretty good pieces to get him onto their team. Some of the teams that were rumored were the Spurs, Rockets, Knicks, and Timberwolves.
Mm-hmm.
All of them have kind of poked around and seen what the price is. The Suns want to get rid of him so bad. Apparently, they have lowered the asking price for him. But just wanted to get your take on where do you think that he best fits in? Do you think that maybe going to the Timberwolves might be the best option? A lot of people like him going to the Spurs. I think they have the best odds to get him right now. Does he go to a really, really young Rockets team and try to elevate them? Where do you kind of see him going?
Golden State. No, I'm kidding. No, that ship sailed, obviously. That'd be kind of wild if he ended up doing that. Yeah, this one's really hard. I was listening to some people talk about it earlier today. He's making $50 million a year, and I don't understand all of it, but from what I picked up, it's gonna be really expensive, and or, like, the assets you're gonna have to give up to satisfy the trade would be massive. So if he went to, like, someplace like the Knicks, you have to obviously get rid of Karl Anthony Towns, and that you have to decide
A
if
lot of
that's worth
people
it
are
for you.
down on him too after that
Oh,
series, last
I,
couple series, which is kind of crazy.
yeah, I'm not as down as some other people are. I could understand if you did it. Got to figure out the coach first, and I think KD would want someplace that he would know the coach as well. The interesting one for me, the Timberwolves. A lot of people are
Sure.
putting them on that team. Just one, they're kind of in a win now situation with making the last 2 conference finals. They could get rid of Julius Randle, who kind of like was a no-show against OKC in the conference finals as well. So maybe
Yeah, he
that would
was.
be an upgrade. Maybe, I don't know. You just got to blow up a lot of, like, all these teams have to blow up so much just to get KD. So they got to figure out if it's worth it. Like a young team like the Rockets, I don't know. I feel like maybe, like, a lot of people are saying they have to get rid of Jalen Green. So if that's the case, and you could like get rid of Jalen Green, maybe another bench player, and then like, satisfy the deal that way, that might work. And then, but then you have to realize, like, does KD want to go to the Rockets? Like, so
Mhm.
it's a big thing. If I had to put him on a team, I, I would almost, I don't know, man. I would have to say Knicks maybe, but I
Mm,
really just don't like the idea of getting rid of Carl Anthony Towns. Like, I
yeah.
understand that New York is a big market where they're just like, it's in the East too, which is super wide open.
Yep.
So that would definitely be appealing to KD, but I don't know, man. I guess I would say the Knicks, but you'd be blowing up a lot, and you for sure would be getting rid of like a Hart or a Mitchell Robinson or something like that, along with Carl Anthony Towns. And I don't know if that's quite worth it for a 36 turning 37 Kevin Durant.
Yeah, I mean his stats are still really really good for a guy his age. I think he's had a little bit of struggle with some injuries, but I think that can be overcome with the right squad around him. Honestly, all four of these teams, I can give you legitimate reasons why it won't work. The
Mm.
Rockets, I feel like they would have to give up too much
Mm-hmm.
to be able to be like, okay, we're a contender. Like obviously they're got the 2 seed this year with a really really young roster, but is what they're going to have to give up going to hurt them, to put them right back in the same situation or worse than where they were this year. Timberwolves, maybe as far as like on paper, but Timberwolves don't have any assets, man. Like they don't have, like they gave up everybody to go get Rudy Gobert a couple years ago. They're still hurting from that trade.
Mm-hmm.
I can see them maybe trying to package Julius Randle and maybe like a couple role players, a bench guy or something like that. Um, so I mean, again, that would look good on paper, but again, you're kind of gutting your second or third star and a couple bench guys for a big three type buy, which we've been talking about before. As the NBA kind of trying to get away from that as far as the teams that are successful right now. So I don't know if that'll work either.
Mm-hmm.
The Spurs, maybe I could see them as being realistic, but I'm kind of with you. Like I think the Knicks would probably be the place that I would want to see them go the most, just because I feel like they have the easiest, I guess, assets to give to
Mm.
the Suns. You can easily package Karl Anthony Towns, and I would even put Mitchell Robinson in there. Like
Mm.
both of them,
Wow.
they both
Mm-hmm.
on really massive contracts. The money would probably work. You could throw in like a couple draft picks. I know the Knicks aren't, they're not the Thunder or anything. Nobody's the Thunder, but I do think they
Right.
have a little bit more capital than the Timberwolves might. So maybe those two guys might be enticing enough for the Suns. I don't think Mitchell Robinson does anything that you can't get out on the free agency market, to be honest. Like he's basically a no-show on offense, can't make free throws. I know he's great on defense, but again, you can probably get something that'll fill his spot in free agency. And again, Cat, I like what KD gives me over Cat, to be honest. He's way more clutch, even in his old age, than Cat is. And Cat just, I don't know. He's just up and down, I feel like. I don't know. It's kind of trendy to hate on him, but I kind of like to see him in the Knicks too, kind of a legacy
Yeah.
franchise. He's been obviously in Brooklyn before, kind of knows the area, but again, kind of like what you were saying, I think the coach needs to get figured out first. I don't think he goes to the Knicks with a vacant coaching position there. So interesting stuff for sure. I don't think that any of this will be probably wrapped up before the finals ends or anything like that. It'll probably
No.
be rumbling on for another couple weeks or so. But yeah, interesting stuff to talk about. Obviously, still got at least a couple more finals games. Hopefully, 3 or 4 more finals games from my perspective. But yeah, that'll kind of do it for the finals and the basketball portion of the podcast. We'll get into a little football and a little Gold Cup and Club World Cup preview here in just a moment.
All right. We usually hop over the pond for this segment, but we're going to keep it stateside with the Gold Cup and the Club World Cup coming to the States. I mean, the Gold Cup's always in the States, but the Club World Cup being in the United States this year, kind of a test run for the World Cup next year, I guess you could say. Though I've been seeing a lot about the ticket prices and everything. Like no one cares about the Club World Cup, and like I don't know why they thought bringing it to a country that doesn't care about soccer would help. I mean,
Trying to
the
push
logic
that
just
World
what
Cup hype.
they're trying really hard. It ain't working though.
They can't
But
even get 20,000 tickets sold for the first game.
I know I saw that. I'm just like, dude, it's whatever. I'm about to get some cheap tickets for the ones in Atlanta, but I digress. We're gonna take a look at the Gold Cup really quick, just kind of preview that, kind of give our takes on how we see the U.S. doing after these kind of horrific losses in these two friendlies that they just had. And we're gonna get into a little bit of PULISIC talk. That's kind of the big topic going around the U.S. men's national team right now, with him deciding to sit out the Gold Cup, him having kind of an interview today, giving his side of the story and what really went down, which didn't really give us a whole lot of answers after, anyways. But Gold Cup starting this weekend, Sam. I know you have written down on here your dark horse, but how do you see this tournament kind of shaping up, and are you going to be watching it all? I don't usually watch the Gold Cup too much, but I'll probably
I
keep an eye just with the stuff going on right now.
Yeah, I usually don't I don't watch too close until it's kind of the later stages when it's like a Mexico US or
Right.
a Canada or something like that. If it's on and I like happen to be just chilling at my house, I might, turn it on, but I ain't watching Trinidad and Tobago against the Bahamas or whoever the
Right,
heck we got
right.
going on in there. But yeah, I do kind of I this tournament does give me good memories just because I remember when I coming off like that 2010, we were talking about this all a little off pod, but coming off that 2010
Mm,
World Cup when I got like super into US men's national team soccer for like a few years, like I would watch the Gold Cup, and that's
mm,
when like Mexico was spanking us every year in the final, and I hated them with every fiber of my being.
yeah.
So I do kind of, I do kind of like the Gold Cup. Um, but yeah, it'll be hard a little bit harder this year to get into it, because not just because of the state of the U.S. men's national team, but just kind of everything that's going on. Even our rivalry with Mexico, I feel like it's kind of taken a little bit of a step back, just because
Mm,
both countries are just kind of like, I don't know, like it doesn't have that fire anymore, I feel like. And Mexico is not quite as good as they used to be.
mm-hmm.
Canada's kind of on their way up, but it's Canada, whatever. But my dark horse is actually a team that a lot of people probably don't have their eyes on, but they're kind of sort of coming up a little bit, and that's
Mm,
Jamaica.
yeah.
I remember last year we had the Copa America? Yeah, and I think they
Yeah.
were in that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was watching one of their games just random. I think they were playing Mexico or something, and I was just really impressed by kind of some of the caliber of some of the guys that they had on there. Obviously, guys are a little bit older, but I guess they have some kind of Jamaican heritage. They had Bobby De Cordova-Reed. They had Mikel Antonio, both playing in the Premier League. I'm not exactly sure if those two guys in particular are going to be on the Gold Cup roster, but they still have Leon Bailey playing for Aston Villa, Damari Gray, who I think he's in Saudi now, but he's still a young guy who's just in the Premier League as most recent as last year.
Uh-huh.
Mason Holgate, Everton player for a really long time. So they have some kind of guys that, again, they're British basically, but I'm assuming they have some kind of ancestry for Jamaica, and they're like, well, I can't make the England team, I'm gonna go play for Jamaica, and they actually have a pretty nice little squad they put together here.
Mm-hmm.
If you're from Jamaica too, you're obviously a speedster, so they can attack you a few different ways here, and I can just
Facts.
see them doing really well. I feel like in the Gold Cups that I have paid attention in the past, there's kind of obviously the first two, US, Mexico, but Jamaica's kind of been the team that's been around. I think a couple Gold Cups ago, we faced them in the final, I want to say, after they upset Mexico or somebody
Mm,
big in the semis.
yeah.
So they're kind of one of those teams that kind of hangs around, but they might be on the up and up here, with some of these guys kind of pledging allegiance, if you will, to the Jamaican national team, and kind of having some big names sprinkled about their roster. So that's my dark horse for the Gold Cup. Could be a good dark horse. Could be out in the group, but we'll see.
We'll see. That's a dark horse for you. It could go
Yeah.
either way. No, that's a great pick. I'm trying to remember. I think it was this past Nations League tournament. It took like a fluky goal by the US just to get past them in in the semis or
They
quarters.
always play the U.S. tough.
Yeah, they
I've
do.
always remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. And it took like a fluky goal for us to finally like to get past them. And then
Yeah.
we ended up getting clapped by Mexico in the final. And this is kind of like the beginning of the downfall this
Yeah.
current year
They
with
also have
this
a
U.S. men's
goalkeeper
national
who's
team.
been playing in MLS like 15 years or something
Yeah.
crazy. Philly Union. So a lot of
Yeah.
experience there for sure.
Yeah, no, he's good for sure. No, I like that dark horse. Again, I don't keep up with the Gold Cup a whole lot. I'll
Yeah.
watch like you said the later rounds when we're getting like a Mexico US or a Jamaica Canada or something like to that effect. But
Mm-hmm.
kind of the touching on the hopes for the US. I don't the expectation is always to win the tournament. We should always be winning that. But I don't know. This year we're sending a C team. I think it was last year, 2 years ago, we
2 years ago.
sent a B team, and everyone was like kind of like if we win it'll be good, but we're sending a B squad. But this is the year where it's just kind of like I don't know. More of the talk is about the players that aren't there, and the squad that we aren't sending, and just how weak of a squad with Pochettino at the helm that we're actually rolling out into the Gold Cup a year before the World Cup. I feel like the optimism is at a all-time low currently with this U.S. men's national team, which is a good segue kind of into, like I said, the big topic going around American soccer at the moment with Pulisic deciding to sit out the Gold Cup. I know we kind of talked about this in a broad sense, but I guess we're going to kind of narrow it down to Pulisic himself, just strictly because he came out today with an interview talking about his decision and the fatigue that he's feeling, and just feeling like after a long season with AC Milan, it'd be good for him to, I guess, sit out and not play these next 6 weeks of games and be fresh for AC Milan coming up next season. And so I kind of wanted to get your thoughts on that first, because I have some thoughts. I was telling you off pod that I was fighting with some fools on TikTok with our last TikTok that we put out about how we disagreed with this. But I guess you could more specifically talk about your thoughts with Pulisic sitting out.
Yeah. Obviously he said a lot. I don't know how we can properly contextualize this without reading his whole comments, and that would be kind of too long for the podcast.
Yeah.
But he basically just kind of clapped back and defended his own position, saying that he was hurt about certain pundits kind of coming at him for that, and kind of questioning his commitment to the national team, and like you said, that kind of doubling down on the fact that he needed rest, and he wants to be healthy for not just the World Cup next summer, but also for this season for AC Milan. And he was kind of mentioning injuries and things like that. I can understand a little bit the part where like there's too many games. We've been on this podcast before talking about how congested the schedule is, and I understand that to a certain extent. But again, like we said last pod, everybody else in the world's got their A team going up in the Nations League, going up in the Gold Cup. Mexico and Canada are pulling basically their A teams for the Gold Cup, which, by the way, if we get to the latter stages, probably get waxed by one of those teams because we don't have our guys. That's going to be embarrassing. And I understand that part, but again, like this isn't Club World Cup for AC Milan. This is playing for your country at a time where you're not only are you struggling, you're coming off 4 straight losses for the U.S. men's national team, which we haven't had since, I can't remember the stat exactly. It's been 15 years or something crazy like that.
Yeah.
Not only are they struggling right now, they need you, but I mean, it's ramping up to the World Cup. And I understand your point where like you want to be healthy, but you're going through another full season with AC Milan. Who, like, are you going to be tired? Aren't you going to be tired after that? So, and not just that, but like with our team playing so badly, like you would think that you want to come in and like at least establish some connections, even if some of the A-level guys aren't there necessarily with injury or other things, at least to make some connections with some of the guys that may be on the roster, not just on the field, but like relationally and everything. Like you want to be there. And kind of what I think you mentioned this a little bit last pod as well, but even if he doesn't play, like at least come into camp, Like, be a captain. He's our captain.
Yeah.
Like, pull up, my guy. Like, show that you care. Show that you care not just about the team, but about your country and about the fact that we're going to be hosting next year, and the fact that it's there's a lot of pressure on the team to be good. So again, I understood the kind of I guess the load management, if you will, of it, but um, as far as kind of the rest of his comments, I didn't really agree with them, just because you're talking about guys who basically every time they were called up, except for maybe Landon Donovan, because I know Landon Donovan had a tournament in there where he took off, and that kind of made big headlines. I think that was the 14 World Cup, was it not? Or did he just get left off the roster?
He got left off
Anyways,
the roster before, like after
because he was
that.
taking
Yeah.
time off, I think. But anyways, all these other guys, man, like they've been through the ringer. Like, yes, they didn't have as talented of a team, but they still had better performances because all their main A-level guys would show up, rain or shine, um, to represent not just the U.S. men's national team, but our country. And I feel like that's kind of where some of it gets lost, is just the kind of what we were saying last pod as well, just the pride not being there for whatever reason.
Right.
And it's just, yeah, it's really, really frustrating. I don't know if you wanted to get into some more of the specifics of what he was saying, but yeah, I just feel like we need more from our captain here.
Yeah, definitely. And I think quickly a good take that was put out there. It was actually by, I think it was Alexi or maybe someone else, someone kind of in that space.
Just one thing about like the content, I don't think we mentioned this yet, but since our last pod, we got waxed by Switzerland 4-0 in the first half. So
we didn't put that in. Yeah, after we posted the reel and talked about the U.S. men's national team, yeah, we absolutely got turned upside down by Switzerland. It was embarrassing, so bad. And I think there was stats going around that Poch is the first U.S. men's national team coach to lose 4 in a row or something crazy like that. Like,
yeah.
we wanted a big name, and really BJ Callahan was who we needed. So unfortunately, we let him go. But I was excited for Poch as well. I mean, there was hope there, but maybe it was a little too premature. The one, go ahead.
I was just gonna add that I told you this off pod, but I really don't. I didn't like his like little jab at the very end of his comments too, where he was like, "Oh well, I wanted to come in for the 2 friendlies, but the coach said that they wanted one consistent roster through the friendlies and Gold Cup."
Right.
I was like, dude, that's such like a pathetic like attempt at like, "Oh well, I tried, but they didn't want me." Like that's so pathetic in my view. I don't get on board with that at all. Like I understand what kind of where Poch is coming from. Like I don't think I would want 2 different teams for the friendlies versus the Gold Cup either, because those, yeah, they're friendlies for the U.S. men's national team, but like if you think about it, they're 2 friendlies that are ramping up to a Gold Cup tournament. So you want kind of the same guys, same continuity there. And like you said off pod as well, like he may have known that like he was going to say no anyway. So he's like, yeah, I want to play these friendlies, but then like, he knew he was going to say no because he wanted the same squad for the Gold Cup. So I think that was kind of a pathetic attempt to be like, I wanted to be there, but it's just whatever. And then at the end, he was just like, I don't regret my decision. I think it's the right thing for me. Like, okay, bro, whatever. Give the armband to somebody else.
Yeah, for sure. And like I was saying, like the one take from like Alexi or someone I was listening to said like we need to give the armband to Tyler Adams. Like
I heard that.
Just hand it over to Tyler Adams and say this is yours until the end of the World Cup, and then we'll reevaluate. Because we need someone that shows up. We need someone who says the right things. Sometimes he's a little too positive, but I think he's positive in a way where he's like, yeah, there were good things, but like, yeah, we're not even close to where we need to be in order to be competitive in a World Cup. And that's the things your captain should be saying. He should be getting on people. Again, like he's one of the guys, the only guys that shows up. Like, granted, he plays for like Bournemouth, so I feel like that helps him not be too like feel like he's bigger than the national team, which kind of keeps him grounded. But that's a little side note. We'll never truly know, kind of like what you alluded to with the friendlies and PULISIC wanting to play in them. If PULISIC truly wanted to play in them, I feel like that helps him out a lot. Like saying like, yeah, I actually did want to come in, but because of the coaching, like I couldn't. but I definitely see what you're saying as well. Could be the case where it's just like, well, I'm just going to mention this in this interview so it makes me look a little better. I had no intentions of actually coming in and playing. In
And
hindsight, he can say whatever he wants.
like in the interview too, like zooming out, that's such a bad thing to say, because like on one hand you're trying to make yourself look a little bit better in the eyes of all the fans, but then at the same time you're still putting a wedge between you and the coach, and just kind of like, I don't know, I feel like there's like an illusion there of like they might not be completely on the same page either, which is
Mm,
not what you want, with your star player and coach there.
right. No, I definitely understand that as well. And then I just wanted to like point out the logic of it. Like again, I said I was fighting with people on TikTok all day while I was at work as much as I could. And there's a lot of people on PULISIC side. And I totally get it. But my big thing is like, okay, we have a World Cup in a year. And this is one of the most talented, like everyone likes to point to that. Like, this is one of the most talented groups that we've ever had. I'm not debating that PULISIC isn't better than a Landon Donovan or a Clint Dempsey, that, our other players aren't better than the players of old that we had back in the day. But what is lacking is when we get all these talented players together, there is a disconnect on the field. It's not all
Good
coming
point.
together. This is why we need time and putting in reps. Like, again, back to my just come in and practice take. Like, sure, don't play in the game, but you're going to practice in the off season. So come into camp, get together with the guys you're going to go into the World Cup with and get some reps in. And some of the guys that you don't normally get to play with that might be on the World Cup roster, get some reps in with them. I don't know. There's just a lot of advantages logically that I can see. And then the other one, I get being fatigued. Everyone's fatigued at the end of the season, especially with how many games we're playing, this, that, and the other. But I, it's
Also,
just,
you don't think that they would have like been overjoyed if their captain was like, I'm really feeling fatigued,
yeah,
but I'm going to sit out this tournament, but I'm going to be there with you guys as
Ronaldo.
like a pseudo assistant coach, and just like show like what a lot of the things that I learned being at a top club in Europe, and
Yeah,
like invest in these guys for next year.
yeah.
Like sit on the bench, talk to Poch, talk to all the coaches, talk to the young players that we have playing, and show that you freaking care about the team, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And that's
And
that's that's what it boils down to, is we just need to see that you care. And that's the last thing that I was going to bring up is like, I think it was so disrespectful on his part. I'm going to use the word disrespectful. He basically was saying, one, the pundits, and I have my problems with the pundits as well,
yeah,
but they've been there, done that. So obviously they have a bigger say than us as fans, but also disrespecting us as fans. We can only talk on what we see. And so when we are telling you that we don't see fight, we don't see you caring, then show us something different. And you, by doing this, you can't just say, well, that's not the case, and then your actions are saying something different. Like, you can say all you want, but at the end of the day, you chose not to come to the Gold Cup. You chose not to play in the friendlies. Apparently it wasn't his choice, but I bet that will never come out until maybe later when Poch is fired, and I don't know, whatever happens with that. But it's just like, as fans, we have a right to take it at face value, and we just don't see a lot of fight. We don't see a lot of mentality. And what is so frustrating, and this is the take that was like kind of like building today as I was listening to the interview, was like the teams of old had this mentality that made us competitive. And I alluded to this before. But when we were watching those teams of old, there were chances and different things where like we were just like, if we were just technically more talented in these situations, it would put us over the top. Now that we are technically more talented with the player pool that we have, but we're missing that mentality. It's just like, it's so frustrating where it's just like we have to have one or the other. Like, we have this really talented group that's playing in Europe and doing all these amazing things, like PULISIC's winning Champions Leagues, and on the other hand, we have these teams that are playing in the MLS, but they're way more competitive than this team. Like, if we could just blend it all together, but we just can't get that. And as a fan of this team, that is the essence of what is so frustrating, is like, they're just so good. That is not debatable. This is probably either one of or the best team that we've had in a long time. but yet that mentality is what's holding them back, and that's what's frustrating.
Yeah, I agree. And like I understand that he has accomplished quite a bit at club level, even though this last season was pathetic as far as Milan is concerned. But as far as the US men's national team goes, like he was clapping back at those pundits, but those pundits have accomplished as much, if not more, than this quote unquote golden generation of Americans has. Like, yeah, we've won, Gold Cup, a couple Nations League, whatever. Who cares? Those are really just one or two real games that we're in. And again, a Mexico side that's kind of taken a step back. Like, what did we do in the last World Cup? Round of 16, where we always get eliminated. Granted, it was the Netherlands, tough opponent. But like even the other games, like we tied Wales. We won against Iran 1-0.
Yeah.
That's not golden generation stuff right there. So that just missed me with that kind of talk. But as far as the captain's armband, I give it back to Matt Turner at this point. I know he's not like the solidified number one because he's got his own issues going on, but I just I'm not too impressed with what they've got going on. And the last thing I'll say about it too, I know I touched on this like very, very briefly, but I know it doesn't translate completely because it's different sports. But like I go back to the basketball, bro. Like I remember before the last Olympics, so it was like a year or two ago, just reading an article about Luka Doncic and how he was not going to have a summer off until summer of 2026 because he had Olympics, he had Eurobasket, he had the FIBA World Cup, which like for him, all of them, if he's healthy or even half healthy, he's going to be there because not only is he the best player, he loves his country so much. He's a patriot. He's going to be there no matter what, not just to lead the team, but like he would die for his country. And I'm just not seeing the same type of commitment, the same type of love, the same type of patriotism for our star player and several others, quite frankly, of the starting 11 for our U.S. men's national team that I'm seeing out of some of the guys that are, like I said, different sport. I know it doesn't translate exactly, but a lot of summers in a row where, these guys, Jokic, Giannis, Luka, a lot of the Canadian guys now, like, I mean, they're there every single summer, training camp, they got tournaments, all kinds of stuff. So they got qualifiers. I mean, some countries still got to qualify for like Olympics and things like that. So, we got to get it together for sure, or else we're gonna be pretty embarrassed if we go out in the group stages at the World Cup we're hosting. We aren't Qatar. Like, come on.
Yeah, literally, it's that would be quite embarrassing. All this build up to that, and that's the end result of that for sure. And then waiting another 4 years to just be disappointed again.
Also, how much would the world love it if like we hype up this quote unquote golden generation, we get freaking grouped on our own soil,
round of 16, and then we get grouped. I mean, like for real. I mean, the world would just absolutely love clowning us for sure because
we deserve it at that point.
We're making it so easy on them, but we could go on about that again. Hot topic, kind of going around the world of soccer at the moment, especially here in America. But another thing here in America, the Club World Cup will be starting this
Saturday.
Yeah, this weekend. It does overlap with the Gold Cup, which was a little bit of a contentious point coming into the tournament, but we're going to kind of talk favorite teams who we think are going to win it, maybe some dark horses. Again, I haven't taken a close look at it, but some of these teams won't be at full strength. Again, some players sitting out, not playing with their teams, some players on the move. I was seeing some things like Man City doesn't have a full squad because some players out on the move. So it's a little bit of a weird time for a major tournament. Like, I wouldn't say major tournament, a big tournament of this size, but I kind of wanted to throw it over to you. Who do you kind of see winning it all? I mean, there's the obvious favorites like Real Madrid and teams like that, but I didn't know if you had a dark horse or someone you're looking at closely.
Yeah, I don't really know, man. Like this whole this whole tournament's kind of weird to me just because I was actually doing a little bit of research on it this week, and I don't know if you remember this, but like the Club World Cup before, it used to be like in January, and it was like the Champions Leagues for like every continent. Those winners would go there. And I thought this completely replaced that, but they're still having it. They're just calling it the Intercontinental Cup.
Yeah.
So more congestion, whatever. But like again, I'm not really sure who's like the favorite to win this whole thing. Still feel like it's probably going to be like a European side, most likely PSG, Madrid type vibe. But again, not completely sure what their teams are going to look like because this is just a money grab by FIFA once again. I do think it's a little bit interesting, kind of some of the other teams that are in there, teams you kind of like hear of as kind of having legendary status in other continents. So getting them to come and play on a world stage is kind of cool. Particularly the ones from Brazil, like Fluminense and Flamengo, and those. I know they have some guys that kind of some old guard, grew up with them kind of players still kind of in a retirement league over there. Like I think Marcelo's still over there, even though I think he retired actually. David Luiz, a couple of those guys that you kind of remember and seeing them around. So I'm not really sure what to expect from this. I want to say I just give it to PSG because they just might be winning everything.
Facts. Yeah.
They have a pretty easy group with the Sounders and Botafogo. They do have Atletico Madrid in there, but we'll see. Inter Miami is opening the whole thing, which I think is completely whack. Apparently, I saw a thing. There's like they're not even doing well in the MLS. They're about to get absolutely destroyed in this Club World Cup.
Yeah.
I think it's whack that they're even in there, but whatever. We've already kind of exhausted that. So yeah, I mean, it'll be cool to watch some of these games. Maybe I'm probably gonna get the vibe that they're friendlies, especially if they can't even fill the stadiums. Really, which is gonna be kind of embarrassing. But it's gonna give me vibes of like kind of these friendlies we've used to seeing coming to America, and Chelsea comes over, Arsenal comes over, whatever, and kind of play these random teams from different countries. But maybe I'll be wrong. Maybe there'll be a lot of hype around this, but I'm not really getting that vibe so far. Because again, Nations League kind of started out like, oh, like we'll see kind of thing, but packed stadiums and everyone sending their A team obviously is kind of answered for that. But I don't really, I'm not getting the rumors that this is going to be like, oh, Madrid and all those guys sending their A squad. So, yeah, I'm not really sure who. I don't really have a dark horse. I don't really have a favorite either, just because I can't really judge based on that, like a B team going. But I will say the most random team in there, Red Bull Salzburg.
Dude, for real. Like, how'd they get in? Like, what's
they
going
got
on?
in based on their they had one of the best coefficients after like all the Champions League winners are in there.
Yeah.
The best European coefficient based on the last 5 years. And I think that
That's
the way
wild.
that they got that is because they won the Austrian league quite a bit. And the way the coefficient works is like every point you get in Europe, it helps your coefficient. So they'd kind of move through the Champions League qualifiers. They'd usually play in the Europa League, and they were just like a step above that. So they're beating a lot of people there. So yeah, really random to have them in there amongst the big boys. So
yeah, definitely. I totally agree. I feel like it's just a giant like European American tour at this point. Like no one's really taking it seriously. And you get that vibe from the teams who are like not sending some of their main players. They got players sitting out for it's just a giant preseason. Like they're gonna roll out a lot of their new signings kind of to get like, a look at them in like competitive settings and stuff like that. But I don't think and even like the older format, like no one really took it seriously anyways either. Like you would hear about I remember when Chelsea won it and everyone was just like, oh my gosh, Chelsea's the best club in the world. I'm like, not really, because you're playing a watered down like Real Madrid and Manchester City. Like it's like we're sending our A squad just because we need to win something this season. And it's like we're playing all these other giant teams like B squads. It's like don't be too excited about that, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, the reason I liked the old version is because it was like 6 teams. It's like one from each continent. And more often than not, it was the European team that would win. But I remember I used to like it because when Real Madrid would win the Champions League, if you won that Club World Cup, you got that like gold like insignia thing on your jersey for a year.
Yeah,
that was so sick, dude. Like I was like, dude, that's so cool. Like.
Right.
Just with that new jersey with that gold patch on the front, it was pretty cool. But yeah, we'll see what this tournament kind of entails. As a resident Messi fan, how do you think that Inter Milan and the Barca boys are going to be doing in this?
Inter Miami.
Sorry, yeah, Inter Miami, not Milan.
Sorry, that threw me off a little bit. I don't know, man. I feel like FIFA will find a way to make them like runner-ups in their group, and then I think runner-up in that group plays
The Messi
like
fan is acknowledging there's FIFA bias.
the corruption. Yeah,
Yeah, bro.
Dude, it's been corrupt from the beginning. Remember when they like surprised Inter Miami with like this extra invite to the FIFA Club World Cup because what did they win?
The supporters shield. So first place in the regular season.
Yeah, and they were just like the supporters shield and the MLS gets an invite to the, and I was just like, what are we doing?
They didn't win the conference. They didn't win the MLS Cup. They didn't even win like the US Open Cup. No, it was the regular season. They just needed to find anything to put.
Yeah, they needed to find anything. And they did it like after the game, and they did it like with like this surprise ceremony, like, oh, and since you guys did this, you're getting, and it's just like everyone saw right through it. They were just like, they need any reason to get Messi in there or whatever team Messi's on, we gotta get in there. So I don't know, dude. They're not gonna do it's Inter Miami. It's a freaking MLS team. Like I can't remember the last time an MLS team did like crazy good in this competition. So
yeah, I know we just kind of like flew right past it in the last pod, but you made a good point. Like, I don't know what Messi's deal has been, but like every time I see anything about him, it's not like him putting like scoring goals or like doing some crazy stuff or like even about his Barca teammates. It's him like lashing out at random referees who are finally standing up to him. I saw one ref, he was just like standing there. He was like, nah, bro. And like gave him a yellow card. He's like, get out of here.
Yeah.
But he's either fighting the opponent, fighting the referees, doing some like kind of a scummy move and then asking for a yellow card or the other guy. I'm just like, bro, you should be on your swan song right now. You've completed football, allegedly. And like, what are you doing? Just like play, make your money. Like, why do you even care about all this? But I feel like, and this is again on my soapbox a little bit, but like, I feel like maybe even he doesn't feel like some of his accomplishments, at least in the last couple of years, are completely legitimate. So it's just something that is kind of bugging him. Like maybe some of those Ballon d'Ors he won, or if we really want to get out there, this World Cup, just, you know, having so many detractors and naysayers is kind of bugging him. Or the fact that Ronaldo owns the streets now. But
for real, dude. For real. I mean, yeah.
I'm just kind of surprised that you're kind of on the, as a Messi fan, bro.
Well, I was never one to like really glaze. Like I was just like, if you're good, you're good. And I always just appreciated Messi over Ronaldo just based on like, I felt like Messi was more of an overall player. And as a Messi fan, this was even back when it was like, you know, the El Clasicos of old with like Ronaldo versus Messi. I still to this day and back then said that Ronaldo will go down as probably the best goal scorer the game has ever seen. Mm-hmm. But I picked Messi because just his all around game with the assists, the dribbling, the scoring, like everything. It was just like, this guy has it all. Ronaldo can do it all, but he's mainly just, you know, big time scorer for sure. And I mean, the stats back that up. Like Ronaldo has more goals than Messi in most competitions, this, that, and the other. So, yeah, I was never much of a glazer. I was just like, I like Messi just because of how he plays. And, you know, I respect Ronaldo. And now they're getting into their later years, not much time left. And I guess Messi's just going to spend that time crashing out in Miami, apparently. So, yeah, it is what it is.
I feel like I don't know if this is just me, but I feel like the tides have turned a little bit, because I felt like for basically their entire careers, I felt like there were more Messi fans than Ronaldo fans. Everyone loved to just kind of like crap on Ronaldo, and like, you know, Messi, looking back at it now, it felt like he had the better PR team. But now it kind of feels like a lot of people's eyes have kind of been open to, especially the last like couple Ballon d'Ors he won, like the one he won in 23, like 2 years after the World Cup when he was playing for Miami. I was like, really? Like, I feel like that opened a lot of eyes to like kind of the corruption, if we want to call it that. And just kind of the fact that maybe people feel like Ronaldo was kind of given the short end of the stick for some of that. Maybe has some people maybe not hopping the fence, but like you were saying, just kind of respecting Ronaldo more, maybe even, I don't know, just kind of, I don't know. I don't want to say like switching their fandom, but
Yeah.
just it changes a little bit, I guess, with some of the things that have happened recently. But that was kind of a long-ended soccer segment here. We'll kind of leave it there for now. Love to hear your guys' comments about Pulisic and the U.S. men's national team. Obviously, we've ranted the last couple pods about it. But yeah, I'd love to hear you guys' take on some of that stuff as well. That'll conclude the soccer portion of the podcast, and we'll get into a little golf here with the U.S. Open happening this weekend in just a moment. Diving into a sport that we're trying to talk about a little bit more, trying to play a little bit more on both of our ends, but little golf here. Got a major going on, the U.S. Open. Very, very I guess, known about this golf course. Fezzy Boy was saying this last week, but apparently a very, very hard course overall. And that was pretty evident, as really only like the top 10-ish players or whatever were even had a score of being under par. So that's pretty crazy. Most of the big boys, the big names, I guess, the contenders were pretty far over par for their standards, I would say. JJ Spawn, I've never even heard of him. He leads the race right now, being 4 under. Some of the big boys that we'll mention: John Rahm 1 under, Victor Hovland 1 over, Scotty +3, Bryson DeChambeau right there at +3 as well, Rory at +4, Phil Mickelson at +4, and then Sepp Straka all the way at +8. So
Tough.
really, really tough course, like Fez was saying last week. I know that there was a lot of conversation about the rough. I saw some video about like 50 guys like out there with lawnmowers trying to cut it down a little bit, maybe because of all the heat that it was getting. But yeah, I don't know how much of this you really watched today. I didn't watch too much except for Scotty's kind of first 4 or 5 holes, just because I was kind of busy.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, who do you see coming out, and what's some of your takes after the first day here?
Yeah, I mean, my take that I've had all week, I texted one of our buddies that is a big golf fan, and he actually was able to go out to the US Open practice round. So he was there Wednesday, I believe. So that's pretty cool. Jathan Eiler, we mention him every once in a while, but I texted him today and I was like, Oakmont's gonna take some souls today. And he was like, dude, I'm here for it, to see like, he was like, I would love to see like the winner have like a positive score at the end of it, which would be like
nuts.
Totally wild. But yeah, the rough's no joke. I did not see anything about them cutting it down. I'm not saying you're wrong, but I think it was 6 inches, and then that makes sense because they were saying that like the rough is like 5 inches long still, even after them
I think
mowing.
they were. So I don't know. I'm not following this like I would soccer or anything like that, but I just saw a video on Instagram with like a bunch of guys cutting it, and they said that they were cutting it down to 5 inches.
Oh, okay.
So I'm not sure the validity of that. I don't know if that was like from a different time, or I don't even know, but I just saw something about that.
Yeah, I would not put him past him to do that, because like 6 inches, that's like impossible, bro. Like,
well, there's a video I saw about the rough at Oakmont, and somebody like threw a ball down there and it disappeared in the rough.
Yeah, it was like gone. It was like gone. They have little flags that they're marking balls with, because like you can't see them when they're in the rough. I'm just like, yeah, it's a very, very hard course. I was watching some YouTube golfers that were able to play it before the US Open, and they were just talking about how like extremely difficult the course is. And again, I don't know a whole lot about golf. Like Sam said, we're trying to play more and watch more, and we're failing at both currently. So yeah, it's
I'll probably be watching some over the weekend for sure.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, especially like Sunday, like championship round and stuff like that. Yeah, the JJ Spawn, don't know who this guy is. I was listening to his interview today. I guess he's kind of just broken in onto the scene, like had a really good players tournament and stuff like that. So kind of really coming in, playing some good golf. But again, we don't keep up with this very much. So like some of these names pass by the wayside. But good score, 4 under. That's huge. That's what it took to win it 2016 when they had it last year. -4 on
Yeah.
the first day, and then
Really interesting.
Justin Thompson held off and was able
Thomas.
to Thomas, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, no bogeys on the first day is pretty impressive for
That
guys
is
that are just trying
impressive.
to get used to the course and everything. When I watch golf, if Scotty's playing, I almost exclusively watch Scotty unless it's like a Sunday or something like that.
Mm.
And I know he got a birdie on like the second hole. I was like, bro, is he gonna win it again? But
Right.
obviously he didn't end as strongly as he started. But I know that one of the as you know, watching Scotty for the last, at least in the majors and the big tournaments he wins, you know, on a semi-consistent basis. I know that he's basically like the best rough player in the world. He's the best at a lot of things, obviously, in the world, is the world number one, but apparently no one plays the rough like he does. So it'll be interesting to see over the next few days how, if he's able to, you know, make some strokes up on some of those guys just because he plays the rough better than anyone else. And obviously that's a pretty big factor in this course specifically. But Scotty always kind of starts out slow, I feel like, at least for his standards.
Yeah.
Like I almost like even the couple tournaments that he won the last few weeks, like you watched him after the first day, you're like, oh, like is Scotty gonna like just kind of put up a pooper here? And then like he obviously just runs through everybody on the on Friday too, but like obviously he thrives during the weekend. That's where he kind of takes control. So we'll see.
Yeah, definitely. And this course is a little deceiving. Like, even though you see some people like +4, +5 over, that does not mean you're out. Like, just with this course, it can turn quickly for even like the leader at 4 under. You know, have like the rough
There's
is
a
so
guy
bad
at
that
16 over right now.
yeah, dude. Like, there's like the rough is so bad, and this course is so hard that like there's a hole that could get you, and you could see
Bro.
yourself slip like legitimately like 4 or 5 strokes, like legitimately. It's bad.
Yeah, right. Um, this is gonna be like a hater thing, but like I don't know. I think we've mentioned this guy before because I think we mentioned him during. It was I think it was the Masters, but Nick Dunlap. I've seen his name pop up on a couple of the tournaments between the Masters and now, just because you know the Memorial, Scotty won, and things like that. He is
Yeah.
always like between 7 and 10 shots over par. Like, how is this guy on the PGA, bro? Like, he's just like
Dude.
one of us, just getting out there golfing with the big boys. Like, he legitimately every single time I see his name, he's in the bottom quarter, and he always has like plus something crazy. Like,
That's nuts.
I'm sure he's a great player, but like he had two double bogeys and a triple bogey today.
That's nuts.
So I don't know what's going on with him, but props to it, man.
Hey,
I don't know what he'd be doing out there.
hey, I mean, like if you looked up some of the like cutting a check, like even being like 30th or something like that, like you make some money, even like it's even like 10, 20 grand for being like, I don't even know. I'm probably getting the numbers so totally fudged, but dude, like some guys are out there just to cut checks. They're not even trying to win the thing. Like this is their livelihood. They got to put food on the table. Like they need that $10,000-$20,000 check to get through the next 6 months. Like
Yeah.
that's what they need. But like, I mean, heck, I'm gonna like if I could be a Nick Dunlap, I would do it in a heartbeat. Like get to play on the
no
PGA
kidding.
Tour, make decent money playing golf every day. Like heck yeah, brother, sign me up for that.
Yeah, crazy. So like this is some of his I just looked it up because I'm that kind of guy. But so let's do since the Masters. He went plus 17 at the Masters, plus 6 at RBC Heritage in Charleston. At the Truist Championship, he was plus 8, PGA plus 8, Memorial plus 8, RBC Canadian plus 2. Pretty good there. Still missed the cut though. And then US Open right now, he's plus 7.
Dude, that's crazy.
Oh my goodness. And then 2 other tournaments, he was plus 10 this year. So I mean, give me his job, bro. Like,
dude, for real. I could
not trying to hate on you, Nick, but it's tough right now.
Dude, that's crazy. Dude, I think you make like, okay, this is the 2024 US Open prize money round of 128. That has to be the first round, right? Has to be, right?
What do you
saying
mean
100.
round of 128?
I don't know. This isn't making too much sense. This is men's singles. So the winner gets $3.6 million.
Wow.
And then runner up gets 1.8 million.
Okay.
Semifinalists make $1 million. Quarterfinalists make 530,000. And then all the way down, round of 128. So that has to be like before the cut.
For what tournament is this?
This is the 2024 U.S. Open. So this was last year's U.S. Open.
Interesting.
And
I didn't know that they do it like that, where there's like different stages.
Oh, I'm freaking stupid. I'm on the. Oh no!
Are you on tennis right now?
Where's freaking tennis, bro? What the frick? That was the top hit? No, that's getting clipped. That's getting clipped.
Idiots.
So hard.
Idiots,
oh, no.
Bro.
Oh no!
I was like, what? That does not sound like. First of all, it doesn't sound like I understood like what you were saying, like round of 128 semis, quarters, but like. I was like, that's not how golf works.
One day ago, prize money breakdown, golf digest.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah. I just need a chart. Okay, here we go. Nope. Okay, I want all the way down. Okay, let's see. 69th, dude. So if you're 69th in this tournament, right now, currently, I think it's Dean Burmester or whatever. He makes $40,000 for being 60. Heck.
For being
Sam, what are we
last
doing?
place?
What are we doing? We need to throw our lives away. No, last place, 74th makes $38,000.
I mean,
dude, that was more than I was making at freaking SC Home Offer working construction. What are we doing? We need to throw. Dude, Owen's getting into golf as soon as he can walk. Holy cow! This is my retirement plan, right
Bro,
here.
I was looking at some of the prize money stuff, and Scotty Scheffler's already like in the top 5 or 6 all time. And he's been a pro like what 3 years, like 28 years old. Like obviously he's at the very top of like every tournament, but
sucks to be an amateur.
Crazy.
Tied 41st, Luke Clanton, amateur, $0. Because you can't make money because you're not a professional golfer.
Wow.
Yeah. Man, you're just playing for the clout and just to say you're there. Like,
why don't you just turn pro like immediately if you're like middle of the pack as an amateur?
I don't know how it works. You have to get on the PGA Tour, you have to like win so many tournaments as an amateur and then like get your card and then you're considered a professional and you can start making money. And some of the amateurs are still in college, so they don't make money.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But dude, that's nuts. $38,000 to be 74th. Dude, like I'll go out there and shoot 200 over. Like give me that crap. That's nuts. But
that's just one tournament. Obviously, it's a major, but
absolutely wild that I was on the U.S. Why is there a U.S. Open in tennis too? I guess there's a U.S. Open in golf as well. Like, there's just so many freaking U.S. Opens. Does that just mean, hypothetically, all the Opens mean like anybody can technically make it if they qualify? Like, there's a qualifying like system.
I guess I'm a casual in golf, but I know that there's several qualifiers that that they have to kind of go through. Obviously, the big players are kind of automatically in there based on winning former tournaments or whatever. But I'm a little shady on that. But I just know that I know Ricky Fowler was going through some of the qualifiers and obviously didn't make it. So.
Yeah, because there's like a dentist that's playing in the U.S. Open this weekend too that like qualified or something like that. Like, tell me you're rich without telling me you're rich. Like, jeepers, calm down.
That's crazy.
Like, I'm a dentist and I have all the money in the world.
Plays at the U.S. Open. He's got a surgery that night.
Dude, seriously.
Take out your molars.
Yeah, taking out someone's freaking busted up wisdom teeth or something. But anyways, we're definitely going to be keeping track of the U.S. Open this weekend as much as we can. Definitely going to be watching Championship Sunday, rooting for Scotty Scheffler as always, as we do on this pod. But I think that's a pod, Sammy.
That is a pod.
All right. We appreciate you guys tuning in this week. Again, watch some sports, watch some golf. Keep up with the Gold Cup if you want, because I know we probably won't as much as the rest of all these other people on TikTok that were coming at me earlier today. But we hope you guys will check us out on YouTube, Apple Podcast, and Spotify. I'm falling asleep as I'm saying this, so we appreciate you guys if you guys will go check that out, and we will catch you guys on the next one. All right. Peace.